kick it off with Sir John, can you remember the title of your essay?
Yeah.
What's the title?
That which can be asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence.
Yeah, that's the Hitchens.
Hitchens, yeah.
Okay, I'll give you. I think he's right, but he's not literally right. What do I mean by that? I think there's plenty of stuff I believe without evidence. Right? I'm tempted to say that there is a water bottle in front of me. I believe without evidence. But you might say, oh, well, what about doesn't it appear to you? So just to cut off that line, I'm going to say, isn't the very claim there appears to me a water bottle in front of me? What's my evidence for that? There are some statements, there's nothing more basic than that. Right? So I actually think I believe there's a water bottle in front of me without any evidence. Because I don't believe in all that realm of appearances. But if you believe there's some special realm of appearances before a water bottle, sense data or whatever, then you say, I believe it appears to me there's a water bottle in front of me, but there's no evidence for that. Right? There's nothing more basic than that. So I think there's plenty of things we believe without evidence. What Hitchens really meant to say is, if you believe something controversial, you need to have evidence for it. Like supposing I believe, my wife believes irrationally, that Arsenal is going to win the Premiership. Right? She believes that. I don't think there's sufficient evidence for that. Right? And we say, you need to have proper evidence. You can wish and hope that Arsenal will win, but you shouldn't believe it. Right? So what Hitchens is getting at is, and the way to define it is, see, we say to ourselves, oh, you should always have evidence for everything you believe. But that's not what we really mean. What we really mean is, if you believe something controversial, it's incumbent upon you to have evidence. But if you believe something that's uncontroversial, you don't need to have evidence. Like if I say I had eggs for breakfast, and you ask me, what's your evidence for that? I said I didn't have eggs for breakfast. What did I have for breakfast? Press assistant? What's the use of a press assistant?
Croissant.
Almond croissant. How much use of a press assistant? Okay, so I believe, if I say I'm an almond croissant for breakfast, and you say, how do you know that? Why do you believe that? What's your evidence? My response is, what do you mean? Because you're asking me an inappropriate question. Someone mentioned Wittgenstein. One of the things Wittgenstein says is, when we're socialized into a language, we learn when it's appropriate to ask questions and when it's inappropriate. Now, Hitchens is acting as if it's always appropriate. And that's how philosophers act. But that's why philosophers end up asking really stupid questions like, how do you know there's a bottle here, which makes us look dumb? Whereas what Wittgenstein and Austin said is, look, when you learn a language, you learn when it's appropriate. And basically, it's appropriate to ask a question. That is, it's appropriate to challenge. That is, it's appropriate to look for evidence if someone makes a controversial claim. Right? So if I say Cameron's going to win the next election, you can say, well, what's your evidence for that? And maybe I can answer you. Maybe there's good evidence I can provide. So it's only when someone believes something controversial that we need to produce evidence. But there are a lot of claims, like there's a water bottle, I had a croissant for breakfast, where it's not appropriate to ask evidence. In fact, if you demand evidence, the appropriate question for me is not to give you evidence. It's to say, what do you mean by asking me for evidence? Why, do you think I'm lying? Do you think maybe I'm on some weight loss program and I'm trying to cover up what I ate, etc.? So, Hitchens said whatever he said is, give me the qualification again, it's not very memorable to me.
That which can be asserted without evidence can be
dismissed without evidence. So I would say that which is controversial, that can be asserted without evidence, can be dismissed without evidence. But most of our everyday claims don't need evidence. Like if I say I want to go to the beach now, and you said, why do you think that? What the hell do you mean?
So you could, Sir John, maybe you could set up a distinction between, well, everyday claims, this doesn't seem to make sense for, whereas controversial claims,
yeah.
And then also, I suppose you talk about scientific claims.
Yeah. And we could also say, why do we demand evidence about controversial claims?
Which is an issue, question.
Because people often get controversial claims wrong.